Hello everyone, welcome to Tourism Overhaul. I'm Carrie Hall and I'm coming to you today from the largest and most easterly parts of St. Philip. We're coming here today to visit one of Barbados' newest and most exciting eating experiences, this old house. And our reason for being here is that we want to have a conversation, a candid conversation with Miss Julia Seeley, the owner of this establishment, a vibrant and innovative young lady who is a true daughter of the soil. She was a born and bred Barbadian who's been living overseas for the last 2 decades, but decided to come back home and to make a phenomenal contribution to Barbados as well as her community. So I've been looking forward to this for so long, to come and sit and talk to Julia about the excellent work she's doing up here in St. Philip, in terms of her business, in terms of engaging the surrounding communities, and in terms of her sustainable and responsible business practices that she's doing in a way that Julia is easily a role model to be emulated and benchmarked within the Barbados tourism community. So here, without further ado, let's go in and let's have a chat with Julia. I understand that she's waiting on us. So of course I'm having a conversation and I'm taking you with me. So let's go look for Julia. Hello Julia.
Hi.
We are so happy to be here, especially B. I've wanted to meet you for such a long time because I've heard about you and all the excellent work you're doing up here in St. Philip.
We're trying.
As I said just now, you're a true daughter of the soil. I heard you've been away for about 2 decades.
Yeah.
So I was expecting someone of a certain age.
Yeah.
And you look like a teenager.
Oh.
So just now he walked past you because I was
It's
like,
still
well, I'm looking
my
for the
heart.
owner. It can't be this, this young lady here.
Yeah.
But first of all, the first question I would like to ask you is, who is Julia Seeley?
Julia Seeley is more agnostic than spiritual. She's a empath. She's a people person, I like studying people. I like seeing people smile. I like understanding them at their core, what makes them tick, how, that is Julia at her core. I'm a helper, I'm a doer, I'm a good friend, That is Julia at her core.
Well, Julia, the reason why we're here today is the story of this old house fascinates me. And I'm sure it fascinates anybody who hears about what you have actually come to Barbados and has done in terms of restoring an old dilapidated building.
Yeah.
For somebody, you saw the beauty in it, even in its dilapidated state. You had a vision. You saw the value, because we tend to throw away things when they get old and no use.
Yes.
But for you to have seen the value and have gone the extra mile to lovingly restore this property to its former glory. Could you tell us that story? That's why I'm here today. I need to hear the story of you seeing that building and saying you are going to do what you did to restore it and to start a phenomenal building that is a benefit to the entire community.
To the entire community.
Yes.
Well, I grew up in St. Philip. My father worked at Sam Lars Castle. My uncle worked at Sam Lars Castle. This is my stomping ground. So whenever I'm in Barbados, these are some of the places I would frequent. I would walk up to the beach. I know just where the little lagoon is in there. And I would pass my time sometimes. And I was walking up here one morning very early, and for some reason, this building, I looked over here and I said, gosh, this is such a shame what's happening. And all over the island, I've seen these old buildings just crumbling and falling to pieces. And I walked and I said, someone should do something about that building. I went to the beach, I sat there for a while, and I was like, we are always putting things for other people to do. Someone else should do that. It's someone else's problem. So as I was emptying my head, I said, Julia, you just so willingly threw this project on somebody else. Someone should do something with the building. So as I was walking back, I said, I feel like that someone has to be me. So I had some painting project going on at my house. I go home, the painters are there, all community-based. I prefer to do it that way. And I said, listen, that little old house right at the gates of Sam Lars Castle, how would I find out, who owns that property? In typical Bajan style, oh, that is Mr. Critchlow's cousin, blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay, how do we get in contact? I think they live so-and-so place. So I was preparing to go out. The painters needed more paint. I said, hop in this car. Let's go. I'm going to be late. And I drove faster than I normally would, sped to 6 Roads to get them this extra paint. And as we're parking, the gentleman said, oh, this is the guy that you will need to speak to about the house you just asked about this morning. So within about 24 hours, I had identified, well, less than that, 4 hours, I'd identified a contact for the owner at that point, made contact, and it just started happening. Yeah. So that is the story of this little old house, is what I used to call it.
And I was about to ask you about the name. Where did this whole house come from? But you just literally named it what it was.
Because that's how I would always characterize this little old house. From the time I was, from that moment I wanted information about it, I said, that little old house, this little old house over there by Sam Lord. So that is how the name came about. Then I just took out the little, you know.
It's this old house, which is very catchy, and it really speaks to what it is. I love the name.
Speaks to the house.
But do you know what is the historic significance? Like, what was the house previously?
I'm now kind of coming up for some air where I'm curious about it, you know. I'm like, oh my gosh, Sam Lord's was right here. I do not have enough detail to say, but based on the history I've been hearing from one historian and the next historian, it has to be about 150 years old based on how it was constructed.
Yes.
And the house itself has 3 phases. The first phase of the house was a packed rock. This middle place where we are right now was more cut stone. And in the back there is cinder block when they put the little bathroom on, at which point. So we don't have all the history, but I could just imagine this thing here, vast land around it, nothing, you know.
And it may have been connected to the great house, the castle.
I have this feeling,
Yeah.
you know. We don't have a terrible amount of history on Sam Lord's either. But we're determined.
I'm going to bring a historian to you to solve this mystery.
We need
of
to
what
solve
exactly
this mystery.
This is going to be our task in
I
coming
think
weeks and
so.
months to solve the mystery
Of this old house.
But what I love about it and what you have done, and I want to know what made you want to come and invest, because as you said, there's so many derelict buildings around Barbados. We tend to just push them down, or built heritage, which is invaluable and irreplaceable.
Yeah.
And you find that, I know a good friend of mine, Sir Henry Fraser, a historian, he's a medical doctor, he's a modern day Renaissance man, and he's for years has been advocating for adaptive reuse of buildings rather than knock down our historic beautiful assets to just adaptive reuse, and it's cheaper to do that than even to knock down and rebuild. And he has been an advocate. Many times his words have fallen on deaf ears. And for you to come and do this, I mean, for somebody who's not even a historian or involved, to just see it and your heart moved you to do this, I find that phenomenal.
Right.
And in terms of sustainability and sustainable and responsible tourism and development, the preservation of our built heritage is one of the major tenets of sustainability. So what makes you want to run your business in a sustainable and responsible way?
Well, the thing is, I like to believe that I'm sustainable and responsible in my everyday life. You know, I try to be conscious, as I said, of my environment, the people, the way I move, the things you just saw here, the yam guy. I'm very conscious of these parts. And as I said, when I saw the house, I said, someone, and then I recognized that someone was me because I had identified it. Why couldn't I do it? It was achievable for me. So that started that movement of, let me be a part of the solution and not just here to criticize, oh, it's old, our neighborhoods
Which is what we tend to do.
We tend to do
stood
that.
up and took responsibility for it.
I have to admit, when I walked first, the moment my brain just said, gosh, this house is old, someone should fix it, right? And we don't even realize how achievable things are. And a lot of these things we can do ourselves or in groups to really showcase who we are. I've also played tourists on my island for 2 decades. I brought everybody that I know here. We slept on my mom's floor in college. you know, and I've also been to their lands and seen how they live. And the thing that would always stick out to me is that for my country, I felt like we were moving away really from who we are, like fully taking our seat at the table, unapologetically so, and saying, this is my seat, I'm sitting here, I'm proud of this old house, I'm proud of my heritage, and I'm proud of the way we do things. And realize we can bring these old things into the 21st century, add a little bit of modern flair to it, as we are modern, right? And still have it live to tell a story. What warms my heart is people walk through here and they say, wow, I can't believe that you could have done this. So I really hope it starts a movement. Go find an old
I
house.
hope you start a movement. As I said, you're our role model to be benchmarked and emulated in this country. And one of the reasons why I wanted to speak to you was to use you as an exemplary example for other tourism businesses and businesses across the board to follow in terms of what you've done here with this building. But not just that, there are two more things that have captured my attention with you.
Yes.
And you are a model to be benchmarked. The way you've created meaningful and constructive relationships with your surrounding community.
Yes.
And the way
that was important for me.
Once again, sustainable and responsible practice. And from the perspective of your linkages with the agricultural sector, with the cultural industries, with local entertainment, the way you grow your own food or you purchase food from local farmers, you support the local economy.
Of course.
So could you please, I just came here and saw you buying some fresh potatoes.
Yes,
you were so excited. You were like, I met him this morning. And I'm like,
know.
Oh, and you run up to him and buy this big bag of potatoes. My heart was like, I need to use you as an example for other businesses in the sector of how it should be done, it could be done, and how we could create an industry to benefit all.
Of course. And
everyone can benefit.
To support our system, our Barbadian Bajan system.
Correct.
You know, all these other things are great. All these other products are great, but we have beautiful things. Mahogany now is endangered. So you are lucky to be able to get a piece of a fallen tree and have every little bit of it tell a story.
Yes.
You know, someone said, you should sand it down. And I said, no, it's still telling its story.
It has to tell its story.
Yes.
It has to be authentic. Leave it as it is and let it just take it from there.
I really wish I could have sourced every last nail and screw, but obviously we're a small island and we do a lot of import.
Yes.
But whatever I felt like I could, it was my mission to spend my money and leave my money here in Barbados. You know, it's funny we were talking about this because a couple of months ago I was stuck in quarantine.
Yes.
Right? The government has put out that they will reimburse. I'm not interested in that. You know, they have enough work. They're doing a great job. They are a phenomenal job our country's doing. So as people are picking them down, and I'm like, you do not even know how great it is and what a stellar job our government is doing. And even in our people are, we're not very confident, you know?
Yes.
And it's okay to embrace other things and so on, but let us just stay at the seat,
just be
on our table, with our things, with our people, and be proud of these things, you know?
Yes.
And I just wanted to showcase that. We have beautiful beaches, but most of us grew up in a backyard, you know? And here's what you can go home and do with your backyard. I planted every plant here, me and one young gentleman that I met. He dug the holes and we did it together in about a week. You know, it took us. And like everyone here, I can tell your story about.
So tell us, are the people who work here from the community? Tell us a little bit about what actually happens. What's your interaction with the community? Do you hire people from the community? Do you buy produce or products from the community?
I'm training my fisher folks to not bring me endangered species for fish. Like, let our reefs survive. That's why he didn't even. He just said hi to me today because he knew he had nothing in there to sell. And I was like, no, keep going. They look good. They're fresh. but I cannot encourage you in that.
That is great.
That robs our reefs.
Correct.
You know, and as much as the other person's going to come and I can sell it as a fresh product because he just came out of the ocean with it, it is just not the way I want to do business. Not for the longevity of my country, you know. So we do a little of educating them on that, you know. I steer them away. You know, it will take a while. It's a process, but I keep reminding them, no parrotfish for us today.
Well, that is absolutely great.
And for the people in our community, they have chosen me. I can't even say that I really chose them, but when we were in the renovations of the building, several of these young men and women we met in our community, and their livelihoods weren't being sustained with just what they were doing.
Yes.
I was telling the story of the one young gentleman with us, Jamal. And Jamal came to move some rubbish for us that day. He's our busboy now. And when it was time, they worked hard that day. And when it was time for them to be paid, I was a little bit confused because I said to one and they came by two.
Yes.
And I said, what do I owe you? Because I'm assuming, he says, just give me something. So that also highlights another problem with our country and our people. We do not know our worth. We're not taking the seat at the table.
You're absolutely correct.
So I want to be a part of that empowerment of, I want to take that person who someone deems is not employable for whatever reason, or in Jamal's case, he's never had a real job. We're still fighting to get a bank account for him. Too many of them are suffering this way. And it's only by picking up the little handful that I can support and helping to carry their mission forward will we make any progress on our island, as beautiful as it is, you know. So I want to be a part of that. I want to see that happen. I keep telling him, I'm going to make a man out of you, you know. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make a man out of you.
Sweet.
Yeah. So that is my responsible, you know.
Yes.
My sense of responsibility for the community.
Yes.
I employ them. I encourage them. We have little Nikolai who was going to, I think at some point I was going to go to the hospital with him. He's 10 years old now. We call him CEO. And he would be jumping in the street and falling, you know. And even Nikolai has his place here, you know, today.
That
He
is
lives in the little
absolutely
community
great.
behind there. He can't wait to see the car. He runs over. What can I help you do today, Julia?
Yes.
You know.
But you're just epitomizing the direction the world is going in terms of really being responsible for their communities and the local residents, where it's not just about profits and just big business getting through. It is about benefiting a wider cross-section of communities and society.
This is
and what you're doing here, and that's why I was so excited to meet you. When I heard what you were doing exactly what
we need so much of.
Direction of the world and where we need in Barbados to be going.
To push a little bit.
You know, it's not about leaving anybody behind. It's about really helping it and finding ways to benefit a broader cross-section. And
I agree.
You are an example of that. And for the community, with respect to your farm-to-table cooking, and you know, and you grow your food here, and it's what the world is looking for. Our visitors are looking for it. Barbadians are looking for it. Healthy, fresh food. And it's really the only way to go. You know, it cuts down the carbon footprint in terms of those imports. And that huge import bill. If we could just get more of us doing it. And you're here doing it. So tell us a little bit about your farm to fork culinary cuisine here at the restaurant.
Oh, about the dishes in general? Well, we just collected some yams, so we're going to see where
tonight. Yam on the menu.
We're going to see where that takes us, maybe tomorrow night. You know, but the whole idea is we have such a vast amount of food here on the island, right? Again, somehow, when we think of Barbados, we think, oh, it has to be cuckoo and flying fish, which is beautiful and is also ours, but we have so many ingredients that just need to be showcased, right? And so here at this old house is more about what do we have and how can we use it, you know? The curfew is stopping us from getting our whelks on the menu because they harvest them at night, you know, and at 9 o'clock is when they're going out to look for them. But we want to showcase all those things, our sea cat, our welts, or yams, you know, and with a nice modern presentation of it, you know.
Call it refined Bajan cuisine.
Refined Bajan
Yes.
cuisine, you know.
That's what we call it.
Let's
If
bring
you don't
it
want
forward.
it down home and you want it elevated,
Yeah.
we'll refine it. But
Yeah.
it's still
and it's still
Barbadian
our
cuisine.
thing. It's still
Correct.
our things. There's still our ingredients, you
Yes.
know, the coconut, the mango, the yams, you know, the wilks. All these things belong to us, and they're great things too. You know, why aren't we so proud to just let people have it? Our sweet potato. They were digging those sweet potatoes yesterday from the field. Our sugar cane. Why aren't we just showcasing
Yes.
more and more of these things? I also have a daughter who loves Barbados. We hear all the time. She's dressing in summer clothes right now, saying, "I'm ready, Mom, let's go." So it's important for me that we have an infrastructure here to support future generations, you know, that we keep giving back. And this way we are sustainable from that model as well, you know, because we're giving back, we're supporting, we're educating.
We ensure there's longevity,
Yes.
and it can be generational.
Yes.
And when you look around Barbados, do you see that many businesses practice like this? And if not, how do you feel that we could get more businesses in the frame of mind that this is, to me, the only way forward in terms of ensuring that Barbados as a whole benefits and has longevity into the future?
You know,
Did you learn this, or is this innate? That's what I'm trying to say.
No, I didn't learn this. This
Is just you.
Yes. This
So
is
how do
just
you
who
get
I am.
people who, because we know that this globally, this is the direction
Yes.
forward.
Yes.
The whole world is moving
Yes.
in this direction.
Yes.
If it's not innate and you don't feel the need to help others, or the importance of bringing the community along and
Yes.
ensuring that
Yes.
all benefit, etc. The environment is protected. You enhance the lives of local residents.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And balance all of that with, yes, making money, but everybody
Yes.
is benefits as well. If it isn't natural, how do you think we could get other businesses to get on board?
I think we as a people, and this is not unique to us, to be honest, some of us lack the vision. Some of us, they think about it, but they just cannot conceptualize, well, how am I going to get that done? You know, they are their worst advocate. They will not look at this and say, oh, I don't need to buy something, I can make something.
Yes.
And I think as long as they can see a model that is achievable with a little bit of hard work. Let's go find some logs on the beach with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
And, you know, and realize we can harvest with what is around us. I think people will start to get the idea of, okay, this is achievable. We also want to encourage them to ask for help. You know, it's funny because one of my now good friends is my neighbor there, Marco Polo. And he's come here and I've gone there. I've asked him for help. I've never run a restaurant. You know, I'm a child psychologist. I don't run restaurants. And my dad and everybody's pitching in and telling me how to do that restaurant thing part, you know. But I just feel like we have to use what we have. We should showcase what we have, and people will start to realize it doesn't take a whole lot, you know. And be proud
So I'm going to call for a change of mindset first.
Yes.
That is the first step.
We have to reset. We have to reset.
Yes.
We have to fall in love with ourselves, fall in love with our communities. We've gotten away from that a little bit. You know, back in the day, the older folks were very much into detail.
They were.
All the carvings.
Aesthetics, when you look at old buildings, compared to what happens now,
Now,
it is
no
amazing.
shortcuts.
The eye for detail and beauty. Amazing.
And we got on that track of, oh, let's do it fast and cheap, you know. And
And
we've
in glass.
lost, yes. And
Instead of
co-
beautiful.
Yeah, we've lost who we are doing that.
Yeah. The price of progress, and what I'm hearing from you is the price of progress has been too great.
Yes.
In some cases.
Yes.
Where
Yes.
we've lost that inner core value system of self-worth.
Yes.
And understanding who we are as a people
And-
truly.
yes.
And valuing that. And,
Yes.
and being able to develop
Yes.
that. You
Yeah.
know, we've kind of taken
Slowly,
shortcuts.
yes, we're into everything
Really,
quickly.
The technology, microwave generation.
Yes,
Everything
microwave
is
generation.
now.
Yeah. So
And
we,
me.
Yeah, and me and
Yeah.
I and how. And we need to reset that and remind people to be mindful
Yes.
to, and
That is
and
we
that
and
they
us,
can't, yes,
not me
it's
and I.
we- exactly. It's we and us, you know.
Yes.
And what can we do? And how is this person suffering? And how can we help them suffer less?
Our brother's keeper.
Our brother's keeper. I like to say it takes a village.
Yes.
You know,
literally.
It takes a village.
You're living it.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And we need to start to be more proud of our villages.
Yes.
And, you know, but also what I want for Barbados and tourism in general, being half tourist, is to be proud of everything and every aspect. You know, yes, we have nice sunsets and nice beaches, but we have a nice cool evening too.
more than
And our
that. We're more
we
than
are
the beach.
more than that. You know,
Yes,
and
much more.
I'm really excited about my people really taking that back, getting back to the farms, getting back to the land, knowing what's going into your food, knowing how it's been treated. You know, realizing what is sustainable in our communities, what we eat. Should we be eating that? You know, how does that impact our environment if we are abusing these various things, and just understanding where our country is and what we need and why we need to leave our money, most of it, here. How do we circulate it within our communities?
Who do you think is going to do that teaching? Do you think the government should set the pace in terms of mandating this has to happen? I saw it was in Italy or Spain, one of those countries who have mandated in schools they're teaching sustainability and climate change, because they realize unless there's education,
Yes.
that's the only time when people understand there will be a paradigm shift
Yes.
in the behavioral patterns.
Yes.
But if people don't know, they're going to continue doing what they've always done.
Well, the schools need to play a part in putting it front of mind
Yes.
of kids from a very young age. The importance of recycling, you know, reusing things, etc. Barbados as a whole needs to move forward in that direction a little bit faster, you know.
A lot bit faster.
Okay,
I know
I'm
you
glad
can't
you
say
said
it.
it. You know, we need to do that. And
Yes.
we need to start from the youngest and let them know the importance of reusing things, shrinking our footprint, as you said
Yes.
earlier, our carbon footprint. How can we just be okay with what we have and not be just mass producing waste and one single-use items, etc.
And just in destroying Barbados. I always
And
say that we have to leave Barbados for future generations.
Exactly.
The same way we found Barbados, and Barbados has
Exactly.
been good to us. and
Yes.
We've enjoyed this country.
Yes, and we
we
will
don't have the
continue to.
right to leave Barbados
just strip
worse
it.
off for the generations to come than we have found it and we've enjoyed it.
I
So
agree.
even from that perspective, just respecting this country,
I
valuing
agree.
it and respecting it.
But where we're going to find the work that we need to do is many people we just spoke about, Jamal and cleaning the yard. He
Yeah.
worked hard. He didn't know his value.
Yes.
And that's the problem. If we do not
We gotta
know
go back
our
to the
worth.
beginning, the basics.
Yes.
You start, as you said, a reset.
Yes, we
Yeah.
need a reset. We need to massage our kids.
Yes.
We need to identify where they're suffering. We need to get help for them.
Yes.
We need to educate the people around them, you know, how to treat this person if they're suffering this way or that way, or they're dyslexic or whatever. We need to be able to identify and treat the problem as opposed to just take it off to the side. Once we do that, and people start to feel like they're worth something, when it doesn't take 6 months for them to get a bank account, 4 different kinds of ID, the young people aren't feeling very empowered. They've lost hope. So we're having generational poverty because we've had 2 or 3 generations that don't feel like they can escape. And when you do, they'll say, you don't get it. So we need to go back, be that man in the mirror, and be a part of the change. Bring 1 of 2 of them. I cannot bring them all, but the 2 or 3 that I can help. Everyone takes some responsibility and mentor them, and then seek a mentor themselves. You know, we can make a difference. Jamal never spoke when he first came here.
And you saw him. And once you saw him, he now feels worth because
Yes,
someone is seeing me.
yes.
Before he was invisible.
Jamal turns up here on days we're not open when he's off. Jamal, don't you have anything to do today?
Yeah.
That that is how this feels like home to him. This is a part. This house is his house. He feels a sense of responsibility that he's been charged for, and we're still teaching him. You know, I'm still teaching him, but he's learning. He wants to learn, and whatever he gets accomplished is celebrated. You know, so it is a journey, and it's not going to happen overnight. We have probably another 2 decades before we're going to really.
But we have to do that because you have some people who have achieved greatness that was just someone, an orphan or somebody that somebody decided to give a chance.
Yes.
That we would never have known how great this person was unless they had gotten a chance.
Yes.
So me, you don't know how many Jamals will go on to greatness.
Of course.
You know.
I hope so. I
So-
hope that's another story. One story you'll tell someday. Like, I remember you, Jamal.
I remember, yes. That's the
Oh
same Jamal?
my goodness,
Yes.
Jamal. I can't believe, you know, these are the kind of stories we want. And I think if every human being, whatever you have that you can pass on to somebody else, just do that. Do not judge. Seek to understand.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
do
a
not
beautiful
react.
message. That's a beautiful
Respond.
message. Yes.
You know, if we ourselves can have a response and not a reaction, like my reaction when I was going into Sam Lars Castle was somebody should do
Yes.
something.
And
You
look
know,
where
and
we are now.
and when I changed my reaction to
Yeah.
a response, we got this
Just
going.
as part of the story, when you said that, I mean, I hope your words could actually change lives and the trajectory of situations where people say, how many times have I said,
Yes.
why does somebody do something about
Yes.
this building, this person, this
Yes.
whatever, without
know.
saying, why can't that
we
person
be a
be
part
me?
of the problem?
And I hope in this
a
conversation,
solution.
a few people will watch this and actually say,
Yes. How
You
can
know
I be a
what?
part of the
I do that.
solution? You know,
what can I do?
look at our garbage system. There are a couple of, you know, we had that issues there. It wasn't being picked up on time. You know, everybody's complaining about it. You know, they're not picking. But this is your backyard. This is your community. Why are you going to let it?
Yeah, we tend to be a society that government, you know, in terms of, and
We need to
get
change
there.
that. We need to change
In
that
terms
and
of
take
personal
some.
responsibility and
Yes,
accountability.
yes. And I was like, if every household here gives
Yeah.
$1
Yeah.
to this truck guy,
Yes.
he will easily take this garbage to the dump for us, right?
I agree.
You know, I even do that, you know.
Yeah.
So it's, but again, we need to respond and not react to things. And once we have set our kids and their parents to have responses, we will start to see the most work being done on our island, you know.
So this has been great. I just have one last question for you right
Sure.
now. What is your vision for your brand, for your restaurant?
to-
What do you see for this old house in the future? What do you
Well-
see in terms of the movement you have started here in St. Philip? And I think everybody should come out and patronize this establishment for all the great work you're
And
doing.
smile with
knowing
the
that
staff.
whenever they come here, whatever they bring,
Yes,
it's
it's
the
what it
community
is.
and people tenfold
Yes,
also benefit
yes.
because you spread the joy.
Of course.
And, you know, we know that whatever your successes are, you share
Yes,
with the community
of
and the
course.
people around you.
Of course,
It
that
may be
has
the
always been.
farmers, the fishermen, the communities themselves. You know what I mean?
local painters,
the
you
painters.
know, our electrician is a local
So,
guy.
so you are the type. Like when you look at what's going on around the world, I mean, all the polls I've seen, people are preferring to patronize businesses that have sustainable
Yes.
and responsible practices,
Yes.
and they're prepared to pay, not only patronize, rather than a normal business, that they're
Yes.
prepared to pay more
Yes.
for the products
Yes.
or services.
Yes. Yes.
So, because I know people want to know when they spend their money, particularly visitors, that they're giving back,
Yes.
that the community is benefiting. The money isn't
Yes.
just going into big business.
Exactly.
So with you, we can see firsthand what is going on. We come to your establishment and you spread the joy
Yes.
right across the board.
Yes. You know,
And that is just so
my-
praiseworthy.
what I want for this place, I want to make a few men and women out of this place. I want them to also take their personal seats at the table, more than any amount of money, more than for me, it is about helping to move my country forward, you know. That is me at my core in this place, to be honest, you know. I am not driven by financial gain. I tell them right now, just keep yourselves employed. Don't worry about me.
Yeah.
Just keep yourselves employed, you know. There's no one's going to knock on the door and ask you to leave. There's nothing going on like that. Just keep yourself and keep being creative and share with me, and let's see what we can do, you know. So we're on a slow boil here. We're willing to take it slow and steady,
Yes.
you know, and create men and women through here. We want to take those ones that
next
nobody
generation of
wants.
leaders.
Yes, you know, in whichever right they want to be, and teach them that love is possible, and we do love them, you know. And I just tell my guests, just smile with them, let them know that you love them and appreciate them, you know, and that alone will help to shape our tomorrow. If we do not start capturing it now, where every young man and woman who's not living, you know, what we think is the ideal way to live, and we just react and not respond to their situations, we're not going to accomplish very much, no matter how many Dissel houses we put. It needs to be from our core. We need to love ourselves and love our people and seek to understand why, how are we suffering, why we're suffering, how are we good, how can we be better, and helping them feel like, look, you just accomplished this. Now let's see what you'll accomplish tomorrow. Once we start to get more of our communities, more of our villages in that mindset, you know, it will just not be I, me, mine. It will be I, us,
Yes,
as you said.
and our.
Right, and our.
Yes.
And these are our things, and how can I help, and my brother's keeper, and, you know, it takes a village. This is what the mantra needs to be for our country. It takes a village, you know, and everyone has a role to play, you know, everybody, you
Yes.
know. So my hope is to generate a movement here where people are not shy to try things, you know, and that they want to really do it, as you said, in a responsible, sustainable way for the betterment of themselves and this country that we so proudly call home.
Yes.
I've been gone 20 years, and I always say I'm going home. You know, I'm going home.
It's where the heart is.
This is
So
where I'm
your
going to
heart
retire.
is in Barbados.
This is where I'll be retired.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going to pass, you know, those golden ages will be from Barbados, you know, sun and here and wherever we end up, you know, but it's going to be on this island, you know.
It's so good.
And I'm proud to say that,
Yes.
you know.
So I'm proud to have met you.
Oh, I'm proud
And I
to
must
be
tell you,
sitting
I'm
here.
truly inspired, and I hope that everybody who watches this conversation, because I'm not even an interviewer, I was having a conversation
true.
with Julia,
Yes.
is also as inspired as I am, because as I said before, and I say again, you're a role model to
Yeah.
be truly benchmarked and emulated by many businesses or individuals on the island.
Yeah.
And I hope somebody will be inspired by this conversation
I hope so.
to follow your lead and follow your phenomenal example, to really build a better Barbados.
A better
And to
Barbados.
understand the power of giving back
Yes.
and making a difference,
Yes.
a meaningful difference
Yes.
to this nation at a time in a post-COVID world where we need it more so than ever before.
Exactly.
Right? If we don't get it now, I don't think we ever will after this
Yes.
traumatic period of time that we've been through for the last year.
It has
If
been.
we don't come out of this and emerge from this
Yes.
brand new in terms of our thought process, our
Yes.
perspective, how we feel and look at our fellow man in terms of in a spirit of fraternity and
Yes.
community and
Yes.
generosity, because
Yes.
that was awoken during COVID, and I hope that it doesn't die
It doesn't
when
die.
COVID dies.
I think
that
we can
it
do it.
continues.
I
That we've
think
had a
we can
wake up
do it.
call, and we will now rise to the occasion
Yes.
and follow your lead to make this world a better place.
Yes.
So, Mummy of the village,
Mommy
it
of
was
the
lovely meeting you,
was-
lovely talking with you, and
it
I
was
hope
really
that
nice
we will
being
meet
here.
again over and
Of
over.
course.
Julia,
I'm
that
sure
this
we have a
is-
lot of work to do.
Yes, we do.
And
That
with
this is
forums
just the
like
beginning
this,
of a journey.
we will make a lot of change,
Yes,
you know.
yes.
And I'm happy that you are willing to come here and to speak to me, and I'm happy that there are like-minded people here that we can do things.
Yes.
We can move it. We will move it.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And that makes my year is complete now.
Oh dear, I'm
you
so
know.
happy to hear that.
Yes, yes.
See that the year just started, so that
It's
is
already,
great.
yes, you know, my year is complete.
That is great. Thank you so much for having
Well,
us.
thank you.
And I'll see you again real soon.
Let's plan on that.
Yes, my sister.
You know?
Yes.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.